Hi, I'm Jack Zaleski. I'm the editorial page editor, opinion page editor of the Forum of Fargo-Moorhead and Inforum. Welcome to our latest version of Forum Face-Off. Today we're going to talk about a subject that's been in the news because of the presidential primaries, and that is religion in modern life, religion in politics. It's been a hot item, and I think we'll see a lot of it in the next few weeks. As usual, our debaters from the progressive left will be Linda Coates, and from the conservative right will be Scott Hennen. And you can read their opinions in print in the March 4th Sunday Forum. Linda, Scott, have at it.
Hello again. Hello, Scott.
Hello, Linda.
Well, today is Sunday, church day for a lot of folks, and it seems like this year it's not just in church. We're talking about religion, but we're talking a lot about religion and politics and how they're intersecting lately. This isn't anything new. I mean, this subject has come up over time, but it's getting kind of interesting.
It is. I mean, I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think the idea of people having personally held strong beliefs.
Sure.
And you spent any time researching the Founding Fathers, and they did as well. And
they did. I have a wonderful book here, American Gospel, God, the Founding Fathers, and the Making of a Nation.
Sean Meacham, Newsweek fellow. Yeah.
So interesting. I mean,
mainstream media news sources are not usually mine that I go to on the Founding Fathers. But
you know, this is a history book with a huge appendix, and I think it's interesting that the idea of what role religion should play in our country, it doesn't get any more American than that. I mean, it was the different colonies had different, Maryland, Catholics founded Maryland, and my people, the Congregationalists, the Pilgrims, this is a part of the fabric of the founding of our country. Coming here to have a little more religious freedom.
Do you take exception with the fact that religion has made its way into? By the way, I happen to think this is mostly a media-driven thing. It's like, for instance, Rick Santorum is viewed as sort of the social conservative candidate, and yet he always.
Are you saying he's not social conservative?
Well, he's socially conservative, but I think he's. I think the thing with Rick Santorum that's unfair is that a good example is the speech that he gave at Ave Maria University in 2008.
Okay.
Actually quoted our own Fargo Bishop Samuel Aquila and talked about. Satan, the father of lies, will attack America because we have 200 years of goodness, we have and great things as a country. Where else is he going to attack? He's going to go to a great country in the United States. So he was essentially, in essence, saying the United States of America is a great country, therefore we're going to be attacked. And if you believe
by Satan
in good versus evil,
okay.
Yeah, that obviously that'd be a place where he would go. Now, that was a speech he gave in 2008, and all of a sudden it's headlines in the middle of a 2012
Well, it's kind of an
race.
unusual thing for a politician to say. Maybe that's something you're used to hearing in the pulpit, but I think it got reported, I think as you pointed out earlier by Romney, that it helps define Santorum's worldview, as does a lot of the other things he's been saying lately.
Wait a minute, doesn't it define everybody's worldview? Do you believe there's good and evil in this world?
I think I don't think I probably define evil the way a Catholic bishop would define evil. But, that's because Catholic is one faith that is well represented in the United States. I happen to be a member of United Church of Christ, or as they used to be called, Congregationalists, direct descendants of the Pilgrims. There's a full range of Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, a whole range of faiths. I don't think any one of us would define things like that exactly the same way.
And nor should they, right? In the United States of America, everybody has their... And I think that's the issue. I think here's the thing that on Santorum or anybody that talks about their faith in the public square, I think some people believe that somehow they're saying, this is what I believe, therefore that's what you need to believe. I don't think Rick Santorum is saying that. I've never heard him say anything. He's talked about his views, for instance, on contraception, which has been a very integral part of this debate, mostly because of a decision by President Obama to force religious employers to pay for something they find morally objectionable.
Sure. But here's the thing, is that that's been in place, not only in several states, and has been put in place by Republican legislatures, state legislatures, and it's been put in place in a lot of Catholic institutions. It didn't have a problem with it until just recently was kind of made into a political football. There are Catholic universities, Catholic hospitals that have had this in place in their insurance policies. I think what we're talking about is all of a sudden the concept of the separation of church and state has come up as that is a bad thing. And I think
who's saying it's a bad thing? I think
Rick Santorum said it was going to make him vomit.
No, what he said was he talked about the idea of anyone with religious views being allowed in the public square being a bad thing makes him vomit.
Well, and that is kind of a straw man, because here's his quote. He said, "The idea that the church, I think he means your church because he's a Catholic. I don't think he means my church. The church can have no influence or no involvement in the operation of the state." And then he goes on to say that people of faith have no role in the public square. Those are two different things. I think he's kind of setting it up. He wants, I believe, according to his beliefs on contraception, his church to be able to have a say in what employers are supposed to do. But then he's kind of setting up a straw man saying people of faith have no right to express their views, which is not true at all. Every president we've had has been a person of faith.
I think you have an interpretation problem in what he's saying. First of all, he's saying, let's take contraception as an example. Here's what I believe because I am of the Catholic faith, and here's what the Catholic faith teaches.
Exactly.
And by the way, he's not saying it shouldn't be available to anybody. You should have the choice. He's saying my personal beliefs are contraception is wrong. By the way, he's also said the Catholic Church needs to do a better job of explaining why they believe.
And that's your issue, the fact that 98% of Catholic women have used contraception. You know, somehow that message isn't necessarily resonating. It's not just freedom of choice. This is
first of all, is that health care?
Yes, it is.
Contraception's health care.
Contraception is absolutely health care, and I think almost every American woman would agree with you.
So should we also start mandating they buy toothbrushes because the oral health is important? I mean, where do you draw that line? I don't buy that that's health care. I don't buy abortion's health care.
You're in the minority, my friend. You are in the minority.
Well, why should that be provided to anybody? If you choose to use it, why not go buy it? If you choose to have an abortion in this country, why not go pay for that? Why should those services be provided, and especially by an employer who finds them morally objectionable? That's an assault on religious freedom.
It's an assault on health care needs of working people. That if you have, it's part of women's health. That's been settled for decades, and insurance companies aren't even arguing it because contraception is a whole lot less expensive to cover than pregnancies.
Well, you're getting into a question of religious liberty and mandating whether that has to be the case or not, and that's where I think you cross the line. Here's the deal, back to the public square comment.
Okay.
Again, having firmly held views in a religious sense shouldn't disqualify you from being in the arena. I think that's what he's saying.
No one's saying that it does, because that argument came from JFK when it was the Catholics in this country who were persecuted, and they didn't feel like a Catholic could make an effective president. And I think now you seeing Santorum slam Obama's faith, saying it's some sort of crazy ideology. Maybe Rick Santorum doesn't want to join Obama's church, which is my church, the Congregationalists. It's the church of John Adams. It's the church that founded Harvard University.
Well, if we're talking about which religion is more mainstream in America, Reverend Wright versus the Catholic Church, I don't think we have much choice there.
I think if you want to say Reverend Wright and have that stand for
20 years of the pews, I don't know that that's a.
And if you're going to take Reverend Wright out of context, what he was basically saying in a very inflammatory way is, if we're going to turn away from the needs of our people, we're not following the teachings of Jesus Christ. That's what he was saying. And so to say that that's some sort of phony ideology,
well, I'm just saying
the Church of the Pilgrims, it doesn't get much American than that. It really doesn't. And I think this is why that absolutely people of faith have the right to speak their views in the public square. Rick Santorum does, you do, I do, Obama does. But when you start to enshrine one church's views on everybody, that's when I think the fairness issue gets everybody talking, we are.
And I would agree with you.
All right.
But I don't believe that's what Rick Santorum's doing. I don't think he's saying, here's my views, those views need to be imposed. He's saying, here's what I believe, here's why I believe what I believe, and I'm not imposing that on anybody else.
I think that might take another session to completely undo, because I think there are a lot of women that are a little concerned about their health care coverage. But happy Sunday. To be continued.
Happy Sunday is right. Thanks.
Yep.